Welcome back to the show. About 170 million U.S. users got a taste of what life would feel like without a popular social media platform, TikTok. Now, the 14-hour shutdown ended Sunday and excited several users on the platform with the huge trend and the hashtag TikTok is back. Joining us on the show to give us more light about the possible future of the app in America and several backlash faced by some stars ahead of Trump's inauguration is our international correspondent, Afia Hagen. Afia, good to have you on the show.
Yeah, good to be here. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Now, I gotta ask, what's the general attitude of Americans right now? 14 hours without TikTok and its sudden return. What are people feeling?
You know what? There's a lot of mixed messaging about this whole Twitter shutdown thing. Now, first of all, I think we have to remember that the first person to talk about a ban for TikTok in the first place in the United States, of course, because let's remember this was not a worldwide ban. And the first person to say that there should be a ban on TikTok was President Trump in 2020. Now, since then, there have been many, many discussions about TikTok, about its ownership, about the influence that it has on the United States and the world, and not just TikTok, other social media apps as well. And it didn't actually need to be shut down yesterday. It wasn't essential that that had to happen, but went dark, it did do. And then President Trump said he was going to sign an executive order today. Today is his inauguration, the first day of his presidency. The inauguration is coming up in the next 90 minutes or so, saying that he is going to fight to bring TikTok back. And a lot of people are saying, first of all, they are very, very glad that the app is back. We know there's a lot of content creators on there that make their living, frankly, from being on TikTok. But there are a lot of people who are also saying that, look, this seems like a little bit of a stunt, that perhaps, you know, President Trump is benefiting from the fact that he was the one that saved TikTok. He was the one that brought it back. He was the one that resurrected it. So President Biden killed it. President Trump brought it back. Are people having the wool pulled over their eyes, so to speak? So there's a lot of discussions about the real minutiae when it comes to this whole situation.
Now, I guess a big question is the future, you know, and 170 million users in America alone seems ridiculous. Now, how could this possibly affect the lives of younger generations from the users and creators of the platform who, like you said, make money? And would they possibly survive?
Well, this is the thing, is that TikTok at the moment, after this executive order is signed, and it should be signed today, is going to have a 6-month reprieve. And in that time, the ownership of the app will be looked at. At the moment, TikTok.
We might be having some technical network issues. Afia, can you hear me?
You know, President Trump tells us that the real issue.
Go ahead, please. Hello, Afia? Well, we're still experiencing some network issues. Hopefully, we can get Afia back, because I'm still really hell-bent on what this looks like. You know, Trump did say something about the U.S. should own 50% of the app. And that has me thinking. Afia, please go ahead.
Yes, you know, that's actually a really good point that you've made, that Trump has said that he would like TikTok to have American ownership, perhaps 50%, like you suggested. So we could see a huge tech billionaire step in and buy the app. Could that be the likes of Elon Musk? Could that be the likes of Mark Zuckerberg, perhaps? Could somebody step in, some American huge tech billionaire, and buy it? That is most certainly an option. But I think TikTok will survive. And I think that's purely because in this past election campaign that went on for pretty much the whole of 2024, Donald Trump garnered a lot of support on TikTok. He now realizes the value of the app, where perhaps he didn't before, where perhaps he felt he was getting slated. There was now a lot of users on the app that were supporting him, and he has to acknowledge that there's a lot of people that use the app that did support him, and so therefore he feels the value of saving it where he didn't before.
Well, that's pretty interesting. I know that right now people have said that you cannot download the app in the country, in the U.S., and you cannot make updates, you know, to the app itself. I'm thinking, would America survive in a world where, you know, God forbid, TikTok is banned? Do you think that would possibly happen?
No, Sam, come on now. I'm a little bit older than you, and I grew up without TikTok, and I am absolutely fine. Yes, the world can survive without TikTok. And I'm saying that lightheartedly. And yes, I understand there's a lot of people out there that make their living from creating content that lives on that app. But things change all the time. Another app will spring up, perhaps American made, perhaps American owned, that will be and can be as successful. It's all about learning the tech and the algorithms that make TikTok so successful. That's what they need. Another company just needs a similar engineering to be able to do what TikTok has done. And that's entirely possible. And even if that doesn't happen, we're going to be fine, Sam. I promise you.
Well, absolutely. I'm now hoping that maybe Nigerian makes an app that, could be globally recognized like this. But hey, still thinking about...
You should make it, Sam.
I'll think about it. Still talking about Trump, inauguration ceremony, like you said, is 90 minutes away. And there's always a music program with every ceremony. Several lines of events, even before to support the president-elect. Now, some of the acts performing the LU Praise Choir, Gavin Degre, Ray Cyrus, Kid Rock, Carrie Underwood, Rascal Flatts, it's a long list. But somehow, a lot of them, and some people particularly, have received a lot of backlash. American Idol winner and big-time country singer Carrie Underwood, set to perform the America the Beautiful, was criticized. Is there a logical reason why? I mean, she's allowed to make a decision to support whoever, right?
Yeah, I mean, artists will make the decision to support whoever they want. The Make America Great Again rally, that sounds wonderful. You had Kid Rock, you had the Village People, not the original lineup they would like stated. You had Ray Cyrus, as you said, you've got Carrie Underwood who's performing, you had Nelly and Snoop Dogg were performing at some events over the weekend as well. And they have all faced some level of backlash, when it comes to Carrie Underwood. Some of her fan accounts have been shut down. Look, at the end of the day, people have the right to support whoever they want. And I think they have a lot of fans who wish that they wouldn't do that, who perhaps are on the other side of the politics, that are surprised that the person that they love, that they admire, would take a paycheck to sing for someone that they are in opposition to. But let's look at the other side of the coin. If this was Kamala Harris's inauguration and certain acts decided to sing for her, she would definitely have some fans who wouldn't be, that act, may have some fans that wouldn't be very pleased about that either. I think a lot of people are saying, or what I've read, is that in 2020, Donald Trump was a pariah. He had real difficulty trying to get people to perform with him. It's much easier for him this time round in 2025, where he's seen as much more socially acceptable. There's still a lot of people who think that he's not, and therefore he's a very divisive figure, isn't he? Absolutely. And so, yes, fans of any act, they're going to be in two camps. There's going to be people who say, how could you do that? It's terrible that you are singing for Trump, that you're supporting him, endorsing him in some way. And there's fans that are going to enjoy it. And I think that's what we are seeing playing out before us.
Well, I wish we had more time to talk about this, but a lot of people definitely were triggered by Snoop Dogg's performance at this crypto ball, especially because in 2016, Snoop had, supported Hillary as president and in fact chose to throw shades at the black artists who had performed. It's a little funny because what could have changed? I guess that's what people are asking.
Absolutely. Maybe the money was right.
Ooh, and the money is tempting.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we have to say thank you so much for being a part of this and for giving us the latest updates.
Thank you.
We're going to go on a quick break right here on East Central. We do have a special guest, as I promised, and it's going to be talking about art, so you don't want to miss any part of this. This is East Central. I am Sam Dandy. Thank you for staying with us. You are still watching East Central. Now, I promised you a special guest, and truly, when it comes to the matters of art, it doesn't get any more special than this. Joining us now on the show to shed light on the origins, techniques, and cultural relevance of abstract art is English-Greek contemporary artist Mary Stefanou. Very good to have you on the show.
So nice to be here, Sam.
I have to ask you, is this your first time in the country, in the continent?
It's the first time in Lagos, the first time in Nigeria and the continent, so I'm really, really excited.
That is exciting for us. How does it feel? How do you feel to be here? What have you noticed?
I feel very comfortable.
Okay.
I feel very at home. The people are very hospitable, very welcoming, and I have a very good artist friend here who has made me feel at home.
Oh, that is so sweet.
So I'm really, really happy.
We love to have you here. Let's be honest. Let's get into this. I mean, English, Greek, that is certainly, you know, a standout. Now, would you say that your origin, your background, of course, influences or inspires your art as, you know, a person?
Yes, I have generally, because I'm mixed culture, I'm English and Greek, it's something that influenced me from a very young age. Because my family generally loved to travel, and we have a very open mind and open to learning other cultures and other places. So this was very important to me. As my mom coming to Greece was somebody that was very different, so I was approached as somebody very different. So this is something that is very important to me, that people are not different, that we are one and we are together. So this is something that follows me all my life.
I like that. I mean, we are all one. I like when you say that, truly. I have to ask now a bit more about art, you know, because when people say abstract art, how would you probably define an abstract art? You know, and what differentiates abstract art from any other art form?
Yes. Well, abstract art has a lot of different categories. Definitely it's not figurative art, so it's not trying to show something specific. The main thing I think is that it works with the emotion, so it creates the emotion or the psychology of the artist through colors or shapes, and it's not something that means something specifically. I think it talks to the soul of the artist or the public. For me, I'm very specific in the abstract art. I'm specifically action painting. So this is one form of abstract expressionism, because abstract expressionism is part of abstract art, and action painting is very specific. So how I create, again, is very emotional. It has to do with my psychology, and I'm basically expressing emotions at that moment.
Wow.
And
so what you're saying is, you know, perhaps you were sad, you put that into the art.
Yes.
If you were happy, you put that into the art.
I mostly create when I'm happy, and it's good to say that I'm very happy, so I create a lot.
Okay.
And I've noticed that I have to be in a euphoria, so I create a state of euphoria for me and my life. And when I'm in euphoria, I create, because it's like I am in a state of blessing and feeling very thankful for being here in my life. And this is expressed on the canvas. I feel it's always, for me, a celebration for life, because I did have issues with my health in the past, and I think this was a very spiritual journey for me. So being alive and being here is very special to me, and my art is this. It's saying thank you to life and being here. And the creation is very intuitive. So action painting has this. It's very physical. It's very, sometimes they say you attack the canvas. I work with my hands. I don't use, so it's all very physical. You work with hands, you splash the paint. And I think it's something that obviously doesn't have a form or preconception. It's something very intuitive. So
I mean, before we go into the technique, because I'm liking what I'm hearing, you know, just your hands. But I also like that you use your life as a message, you know, in creating and being celebrating life itself. Would you say that people, when they see your art, they also get that euphoric feeling that you put into it? Wow.
I think this is the most special thing for me, to be honest, because a lot of people don't know my story, and people in the shows have approached me, and I can tell you that a lot of people get very emotional.
Wow.
And they say to me, you have made us think of all the things we want to do in our life. You know, they create this sensation, and for me to hear this from the people and to know that this is what I'm creating without even sharing it, I think I've achieved what I want to do in life.
Talk about it, passion and of course vision. But let's go back to technique. Now I'm interested. So I'm trying to paint a picture. You put the canvas and then you're using your hands straight into paint.
Yes, and usually it's large canvases, so it's canvases on the ground.
Wow.
And I always have music on, because music is a very important
type
part.
of music, Afro beats maybe?
Yes. I also use that, but it's usually atmospheric rock, I would say, because it gets very, you know, the emotion is strong in that moment. So I'm actually on the canvas creating. My hands are my main tool. So my body is connected to the canvas, and usually the paint is either smeared on, and then my hands are actually in the paint and splashing it. So it's a lot of paint and it gets very messy.
Wow.
And it's very physical, but I absolutely love it because it's absolutely ecstatic.
I can imagine. I mean, I'm hearing you explain it and I'm feeling it. I'm just thinking, so once you're done, it's a work of art. There's never a, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this, or I don't like this so much. You always appreciate what you created.
And this is the thing, because I have to say that a lot of people say, oh, abstract art, and it's easy, I can do that, I can just splash something. But the truth is, you cannot try to fix something. So it has to be what you make is what you're going to see, and what you cannot really fix or make details after. So it is a talent to be able to create with your intuition and be very, and bring out something that is art.
I like that. Definitely there's talent, there's passion, and it's coming from a good place of a great message. So I think it's beautiful. Hopefully a lot of people appreciate more abstract art, and they buy more, because I feel like your work, I've seen it on socials. I'm sure that also contributes, to people's acceptance of it.
Definitely.
But thank you so much. It's an honor having you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, young Nigerian multi-dimensional artist held the Lagos leg of his solo debut exhibition. We had Ibim in the studio last week to talk about his inspiration from his rich culture and the importance of taking art as a serious business. Our very own Trust Roy was live at the King Jaja show, and here's how that went.
When you hear the words King Jaja, what comes to your mind? A king, the kingdom of Opopo, or an Igbo man who turned a rivers man? Well, for myself and the rest of the people right here at Alexis Gallery in Victoria Island, Lagos, it's a lot more, as Nigerian artist Ibim Kuki has breathed new life into the story of King Jaja of Opopo. With 11 works on display, he has told a story that is worth telling. Trust Roy for News Central. King Jaja, man. This is a story that's even personal to yourself. What do you think about the work Ibim Kuki has done?
Absolutely wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Like, in fact, I'm short of words, because like I've known him for a while, and from the very first time I saw him, like I knew like, oh my, this guy's onto something great, and I'm just very happy that he's been able to put together his first solo exhibition here in Lagos at Alexis Gallery.
11 works are on display right now. What are your thoughts about the intentionality behind the story generally?
I generally think that this story needs to go internationally. So Ibim's idea is that this will go to other countries. It's going to go to Berlin and move on to America, because this is an international story. It's not just about King Jaja, the region here. It is the story which is very personal to Ibim as well. But this reflects things that are happening all over the world, and we need to remember our history and try to change things for the future.
Ibim Kuki has been a very hard-working person, and that is portrayed in what we can see today. Can see a lot of good artwork he has done, giving a representation of what happened during King Jaja's reign. And I must say that I'm excited, and I'm happy to be here to witness this.
It's amazing. Walking in here, it's just a shock at the depth of the story this entire exhibition tells, right? A lot of vivid colors, and what I see that every painting here has layers to it. The story, the more you look, the more you see, the more you understand, and it tells us that each one tells its own story of itself. So just looking at each one, each painting, is an experience in itself.
Basically, I'm not a historian, neither am I from River State where he's from, but with the little I know, I came to understand that he's a warrior, an old-time warrior, and that was actually the first place I visited when I first came to River State, the palace of the King Jaja, and it's pretty much a beautiful historical place.
This particular symbol here is called the Manila 3 symbol. It was the currency used during King Jaja's time. This is King Jaja, and this image behind, this is how the compounds are labeled in Opobo from the 67 war canoe houses. These barrels here signify King Jaja's influence in the palm oil trade and the economy of Opobo at that time. This cannon signified the civil war between Opobo and Boni, when King Jaja tried to separate Opobo from Bonny. This fish signifies the fishing economy, because when the British people, when they blocked the trade routes for Jaja to export his palm oil, he decided to engage in fishing, and then that was when the economy of fishing sort of like took off in Opobo. These ships were the locally made ships that they tried to mirror after the British people's ships when the British had issues with Jaja and stopped supplying him boats. And this is the traditional settlement of the Igbo people, which they adopted in Opobo, because King Jaja was originally from Amibo in Imo State. And this had the hut, which is the Obi, and then the one for his wives and his children and other things. And this is what this painting is about totally. It's a summary of the show.
How are you, Sabo?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Okay, King Jaja, tell me about it. You curated this entire experience for us.
Yes, King Jaja by Ibim Kuki is probably the first time the story of King Jaja of Opobo has been given a visual treatment anywhere in Nigeria that we're aware of. So it's such an important part of our history, especially in relation to our past with British rule. It's a huge story, it's an entire life, it's an entire history. He's going to subdivide everything, the story, and then go into deeper parts of it. But this first attempt is to give a generalized idea using 11 paintings to tell the story, the great story of King Jaja of Opobo, and we can go into the relevance or significance of King Jaja in a minute.
As a Niger Delta myself, I can only but say that the 11 works that Ibim Kuki has put on display at his debut solo exhibition were just amazing. It just reinforces my thoughts that more Nigerian stories, more Southern Nigerian stories, more Niger Delta stories need to be told using visual mediums, be it film, music, or art, just like Ibim Kuki has done. Trust Roy, reporting for News Central.